Samantha Anderson was born into the dazzling world of wealth and power, destined to become the next leader of the Anderson Empire, a sprawling business legacy built by her grandfather and expanded by her father, Victor Anderson. To the outside world, she was the picture of perfection, intelligent, poised, and the ideal heir to Anderson hotels and resorts. Yet behind the facade of luxury and boardroom brilliance, Samantha nursed a secret passion, a burning desire to sing and to live freely, unburdened by her father's iron-fisted control. From childhood, her every step was meticulously planned. When her older sister Vanessa chose to follow her own path as a chef in a far-off country, the weight of expectation fell squarely on Samantha's shoulders. Overnight, she was thrust into a role for which she had never truly prepared, forced to adopt the corporate persona her father demanded. Meetings, financial reports, and endless training sessions filled her days, leaving little room for her true passion. Even so, whenever she found a quiet moment, whether by the pool or in the solitude of her room, Samantha would lose herself in the music playing in her heart, imagining herself on stage, free to express her deepest emotions. Her only solace came from Nanny Sad, the devoted household helper who had cared for her since childhood. One afternoon, as Samantha sat by the pool listening to one of her favorite songs, she confided in Nanny Sad about her dream of becoming a singer. "Maybe I should tell Dad how much I want to sing," she murmured, her eyes distant with longing. Nanny Sad, knowing well the fierce resolve of Victor Anderson, gently cautioned, "Your father will never allow that, Samantha. You have a destiny to fulfill as the future CEO." Yet the seed of rebellion had been planted in Samantha's heart. The tension between duty and desire came to a head at a lavish company Christmas party. Encouraged by her employees, who saw her not just as a boss, but as one of their own, Samantha stepped up on a small stage to sing a gentle Christmas tune. For a few magical minutes, her voice soared, enchanting the crowd and transporting her into a world where she was free from her father's suffocating influence. However, her moment of liberation was abruptly shattered when Victor Anderson appeared. With a cold, disapproving tone, he chastised her in front of everyone, declaring, "You're not an entertainer. It's not your job to sing." The humiliation was crushing, yet it ignited a fierce resolve within Samantha. Determined to reclaim her life, Samantha devised a daring plan. If she could not sing as herself at home, she would do so in secret. With the help of Nanny Sad, she resolved to leave the mansion and explore life on her own terms, even if it meant assuming a new identity. Under the name Samantha Harris, she would pose as a laundry worker at a wealthy household, allowing her to experience ordinary life and, perhaps, find the courage to finally sing for herself. Her new life began at the home of the Orga family, a household that, despite its outward prosperity, was rife with turmoil. The matriarch, Margaret Orga, was a bitter, irritable woman trapped in a loveless and violent marriage with Samuel, a man notorious for his infidelity and cruelty. Samuel's mother, Marilyn, added to the oppressive atmosphere with her mocking and unsympathetic attitude. When Samantha arrived at the Orga residence, her new employers made no effort to hide their disdain. Margaret scrutinized her every move, and Samuel's cold, distant demeanor left little room for compassion. Yet, despite the harsh treatment and the modest room Samantha was given, a far cry from the opulent quarters of the Anderson mansion, she felt an unfamiliar thrill. Here, at last, she was not bound by the strict dictates of her past. The routine of laundry and ironing was far less taxing than the emotional labor of witnessing the pain around her. Samantha soon discovered that the domestic chaos extended far beyond the daily chores. One day, while running errands with Nanny Sad, Samantha encountered Samuel at a pharmacy, hand in hand with another woman. The sight confirmed what she had long suspected. Samuel's infidelity was not a secret in this house. Her heart ached for Margaret, who bore the scars of both physical abuse and emotional betrayal. Though she knew it was not her place to meddle, Samantha's compassion could not let her remain silent. Gradually, a deep bond formed between Samantha and Margaret. Late one night, as Margaret's agonized screams echoed through the corridors, Samantha's conscience would not allow her to ignore the abuse any longer. Gathering her courage, she clutched a basin of warm water and a small kit of first aid supplies. and she ascended the creaking stairs to Margaret's room. There, amid tears and bruises, Samantha gently tended to Margaret's wounds. The act of caring for another, of offering solace where none had been forthcoming, was transformative. For the first time, Margaret admitted, "Thank you, Samantha. You're the only one who's shown me true concern." In that moment, the two women forged a bond based on shared pain and a mutual yearning for freedom. In the midst of this turmoil, Samantha also dared to pursue her long-suppressed passion for singing. Encouraged by Nanny Sad, she secretly signed up for a local singing contest. On the night of the competition, her nerves were palpable as she stepped onto the stage. With the soft strains of a piano filling the room, she closed her eyes and let her voice flow, each note imbued with years of hidden emotion and unspoken dreams. The performance was mesmerizing. The audience, initially taken aback, soon erupted into thunderous applause. In that instant, Samantha tasted a freedom she had never known. A fleeting moment when she was simply a singer, not a pawn in her father's grand scheme. But the victory was bittersweet. As the applause died down, murmurs began to spread among the guests. Some recognized hints of her true identity, the daughter of billionaire Victor Anderson. Panic gripped Samantha as she feared the inevitable consequences if her father discovered her whereabouts. Desperate to escape, she left the stage and fled the hotel in a taxi, her heart pounding with a mix of exhilaration and dread. The chaos did not end there. Back at the Orga household, tensions reached a boiling point. That very night, Samuel's abusive behavior escalated. A violent altercation broke out between Samuel and Margaret, with harsh words and physical blows exchanged in a scene of raw, unbridled anger. As Margaret's voice trembled with fury, she declared, "I'm done letting you treat me like I don't matter." Amid the commotion, Samantha rushed to intervene, her presence a desperate attempt to stop the cycle of abuse. With a large knife clutched in her trembling hand, she tried to protect Margaret from further harm. The confrontation was chaotic, and though it nearly ended in tragedy, it marked a turning point. Margaret's defiant stand against Samuel's abuse, combined with Samantha's unwavering support, shattered the cycle of submission that had long defined her life. In the aftermath, the bonds between Samantha and Margaret grew stronger. They spent quiet afternoons together, baking cookies and sharing memories, each moment a small rebellion against the pain of their past. Margaret, once resigned to her fate, began to see a glimmer of hope. She confided in Samantha about her once promising life overseas, where she had worked as a laundry woman in a luxurious palace, only to be betrayed by the man she loved. Despite the bitterness of her memories, Margaret resolved to fight back against the injustice she had endured. Inspired by Samantha's courage, she decided to file charges against Samuel for domestic violence and infidelity. The legal battle was arduous, but in the end, justice prevailed. Samuel was convicted and imprisoned, freeing Margaret from the cycle of abuse. Amidst these personal triumphs, the specter of Samantha's past continued to haunt her. One morning, as she settled into her new routine, a sleek car pulled up at the gate of the Orga household. To her shock, her father, Victor Anderson, had tracked her down. The confrontation was tense. Victor's disappointment and anger were palpable as he demanded that Samantha return to the life he had meticulously crafted for her. But this time, Samantha stood her ground. With tears streaming down her face, she told him, "I'm not happy at home anymore. I won't let you control every part of my life." The confrontation, raw and heart-wrenching, marked the climax of her struggle for independence. For the first time in years, she spoke her truth, declaring her need to live on her own terms. Moved by his daughter's determination and the sincerity in her words, Victor eventually softened. In a rare moment of vulnerability, he apologized for his harshness and promised not to force her back into the life she no longer wanted. In time, Samantha returned to the family business, not as a mindless heir, but as a self-assured leader who balanced her responsibilities with her passion for singing. Her father, once a tyrant, began attending her performances, his eyes filled with pride rather than scorn. The journey had been long and painful for both Samantha and Margaret. They had each fought against forces that sought to confine them, whether it was the oppressive expectations of a controlling father or the suffocating grip of an abusive marriage. Yet through their struggles, They discovered an inner strength and a shared belief that true freedom comes from the courage to choose oneself. Samantha's transformation from the sheltered heiress to the bold singer and determined business leader was a testament to her resilience. Every performance on stage, every act of defiance, and every moment of vulnerability had paved the way for a new beginning, one where she could honor her past without being defined by it. And as she embraced both her duty and her dreams, she became a beacon of hope for those around her, inspiring others to stand up for their own happiness. In the end, the lesson was clear. Freedom is not merely about escaping one's past, but about daring to live authentically and to fight for the life you deserve. For Samantha Anderson, and for Margaret Orga, the journey toward liberation was as challenging as it was transformative, proving that even in the darkest of circumstances, the human spirit can rise, sing, and ultimately soar free.